used many Afghanis extras.
I love Afghanistan. I love Afghanistan.
I'm sure people, if we have few more people like yourself, and they care about people, no matter they are Afghanis or they are African or they are Chinese, we would have a better world. You know, if the thing that you said about what you are doing against this condition, that violence against women, I'm sure of course you have to get some help from local women also, which you are getting in Afghanistan.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I think one of the things that the book is looking at is, you know, over the last 10 years with V-Day, I've been really privileged to go to about 40 countries and spend a lot of time, you know, in Bosnia and Afghanistan and Kosovo, in Juarez, Mexico, where we work with women and join in solidarity with women all across the planet who have suffered rape and incest and female genital mutilation and gang rapes and acid burnings and honor killings. It goes down the list. But one of the extraordinary things that I've seen is how many women there are on this planet, and men, who have been through enormous violence and enormous suffering. And rather than getting AK-47s or weapons of mass destruction, they feel what they've been through, they grieve it. And through that grieving, it actually transforms, and then they devote their lives to stopping it happening to other people. And I think these are the people on the planet who are really holding up the human species and keeping us alive. We don't spend a lot of time putting them on the news because they're doing good things. They're not doing bad things. But I think those people throughout the planet have really been my teachers. Those are my heroes. The people who you don't meet, like that in the small towns, who have devoted their lives to, for example, like Agnes in Africa, who was cut and female genitally mutilated and devoted her life to stopping it happening to other girls. Or women in Juarez, who I know this amazing woman, Esther, who moved to Juarez, Mexico, when she heard that young women were being disappeared from the maquiladoras and murdered and raped. And she has devoted her life to stopping these murders and rapes. And I think there are people like that everywhere. And when you go and you travel, you suddenly understand that there are no nations. It's a complete illusion. There are no borders. That's only in your mind. You know?
I hope this happens someday, that instead of putting walls around the borders and so on, they would have, and I see sometimes successful work of doctors, Doctors Without Borders, you know. But I think it's not enough just to talk about it. The organizations sit and discuss it. People like yourself who go and see it in person and do something about it. If we have more women like yourself, and we have some more exchange program, we have to get people from other countries. I think it would be fantastic if they bring many Afghanis, many Iraqis to America in their high school age. When you know they study here, then they go back, and they, you know, there is a way to do that. I think by this kind of just mutual understanding would help a great deal.
So much so. I think most people in this country have ideas, particularly around the Arab world. I mean, I think, you know, just these illusions and ideas we have about all people who practice Islam are fundamentalists, all Arabs. I spend a lot of time in the Arab world. I learn more in the Arab world than any world I travel in. It is the kindest, it is the gentlest. The people are so, they're so able to be, just to be right here in the present tense, to not be striving, to not be searching, they actually sit within their own bodies and beings and listen and pay attention and love their lives and have. Now, we don't know how to do that in America. It would really heat us to go and say, what do we have to learn from each of these people of the world? Instead, we think everyone wants to be an American. So we export our wisdom, and we export our products, and we export our addictions. And I think one of the things I've learned is that if you're privileged enough to be invited into other people's worlds, your job is to listen. Your job is to let yourself be changed and transformed and taught by other people's ways. And that's how the world gets expanded. It's fantastic that we're all not the same. You know?
But if I have my way, maybe I do, if I have my way, one day I call the State Department, I say, take John Bolton and put Eve in his place and be ambassador of, we have to have something like that.
Well, I think it has to do with women too. I think women understand, look, I think we live in a country, when you're afraid, what do? You shut down, you isolate, your world becomes more narrow, more tiny. Anyone who's different than you is threatening, anyone other is threatening. I feel like I'm 53 years old and I have never been more insecure and I have never been happier. I live alone, I travel all the time, I wake up, I don't even know what room I'm in. I have never felt happier. Because you know what? I get to sit with Parviz today, and we get to have a conversation, and I get to be right here, right now with you, this extraordinary man who has lived an extraordinary life, and you will share with me what you have learned, and then I go on and I get to be with the next extraordinary person. If you live your life where you have to be with only what you know and eat only the foods you know and live in the little hotels that you know, your life becomes very, very tiny and very.
And I think, of course, I can tell you, I may not be able to tell others, women can do a great deal. If tomorrow all the women in the world, in all those countries, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Lebanon, everywhere, they decide they want to change, they can, because half of the population are women.
Yeah.
And all of us have either mother, we have sister, we have daughter. It has to have, why would they act like this? What if somehow women get organized and people like yourself be behind this and organize this, and they decide one day they are going to take charge. And they're going to, imagine, in every country of these countries.
No, believe me, it's our dream.
And if they say tomorrow, if they stop the strike, one day everybody strikes. The teachers don't go to school to teach, they don't cook, they don't wash, they don't drive, they don't fly, all those, because in every, all over the world I'm talking about. Even in the United States I'm talking about. If they decide to do this, I think we would have a different world.
I do too. And one of the things that we're doing in V-Day, which is a worldwide movement, last year there were 1,100 places that did productions of the Vagina Monologues. I'm talking about throughout the world, from Pakistan to Lebanon to Asia to Alabama. We had 2,700 productions. This year I imagine we'll have more. Every year the movie.
27. When you say that 2,700 productions, that just go past that. 2,700 means 2,700 production.
In 1,100 places, 91 countries.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a worldwide revolution. So we just think we'll keep going, and eventually, in Iceland, the president of Iceland declared.